Last month we focused on getting the fundamentals in place. This month, however, we primarily focused on refining the design of the game. Now, we should take a moment here to explain the difference between design and implementation. A lot of people will use these two terms somewhat interchangeably, but in reality, the design and implementation are two different things. Implementation is about what is actually coded in the engine, while design is all about theory, and it is very important to nail down to have a cohesive game. You've probably heard of the term game design document, and that's exactly what we've been creating, a master document to determine what we want in the game and what we don't. This is actually a process we've been doing since the beginning, but it's now finally starting to take shape. This is one of the key stumbling blocks of DreamWorld. They have no game design document. They simply add game features as they think of them, or based on whatever they can find from the marketplace this month. Now, while the game design document has been a key focus, it has not been the only focus. We've also continued adding those fundamentals. We recently brought on an AI developer who has been doing some great work in getting the basis of our AI systems in place. We also got a character customization screen set up, and we finished the inventory refactor we talked about last month. So, let's start off with AI. Oreo, our AI designer, has been working very hard at getting the basics of our AI development underway. We want every creature to feel slightly different. That includes creatures from the same family type. For example's sake, let's say we have a fox in the game. We don't want the player to kill 10 foxes and them all behave the same. We want each of them to feel different. So we're aiming to have a pool of 10 modifiers for the fox. When a fox spawns, it will pick 2 to 3 modifiers at random and add it to its existing toolkit. For example, it might pick a howl ability and a skittish modifier from the pool. This now allows this fox to howl when being attacked, to call other nearby foxes to aid it in combat. And when its health drops below 30%, it will try and retreat because of the skittish trait. Another fox might spawn with the pack leader trait, meaning other wild foxes will follow it around while it patrols the area it lives in. And its second trait that randomly gets picked may be Sharp Fangs. This would make all damage dealt by the fox cause the player to bleed for an additional 30% of all damage dealt by the fox. This is just an example of 2 foxes spawning with 2 traits each, yet this has created 2 incredibly different encounters from the same animal. Here's a list of 10 example traits for a fox. Agile. The creature moves 25% faster. Pack leader. Other creatures of the same species will follow it. Sharp Fangs. All damage dealt causes an additional 30% bleed damage. Howl. Let out a howl and call for the help of nearby friendlies. Skittish. At 30% health, this creature will try and retreat and hide. Stalker. When a player is near, the fox hides in a bush or long grass and will pounce to start the fight. Overpower. The fox is bigger than usual and has the ability to knock you to the floor and stun you for half a second. Deterrence. The fox uses its tail to kick up a cloud of dust, increasing its chance to dodge an attack by 20%. Partnered. The fox is related to another fox and will come to its aid regardless of distance. Hunter. The fox will deal 20% more damage. Now, if you imagine them spawning with 2 to 3 of these, the possibilities are quite numerous, and adding more than 10 traits to the mix will give each spawned fox its own personality and fighting style. The art team has finally found their feet with a new pipeline for production, and we've had a very constructive month. One of the things that we wanted to do was create a fully fleshed out environment to get a really nice feel for art style. We wanted to create a bakery in the Enchanted Forest. This way, new artists can drop their textures and models into the scene and see if it fits our style, lighting and poly count for models. As this is going to be the Bible for our future work, the artists are making sure it's as good as it can be. Chris started off modelling and rough texturing a build kit that will be used in this bakery. At the same time, Sarah was modelling out the greenhouse build kit that will also be used around the Enchanted Forest scene. Both of these build kits look fantastic and will really add a lot of homeliness to the otherwise dense forest. On the topic of Enchanted Forest, Chris jumped in engine and started roughing out an area with trees, mushrooms, grass and some of our already finished assets. This was fantastic to get in engine for a nice visualisation of scale. After last month's edition of the Borb Bud plant, Sarah continued to work on other herbs and plant life for the Enchanted Forest. Along with that, I worked on a proximity-based glowing function for one of these new plants called the star moss. Despite being a really fun effect and cool to look at as you run through it and touch it, it's actually incredibly efficient on performance as well. Rotsu has spent this month working on additional character creation pieces along with a lot of set dressing pieces for the bakery, such as bowls, barrels and food. Props, and more props. Mantle finished up the character creation podium. This is what the player stands on during the creation process, and you will most likely see it used elsewhere too. Glowstick has been working on some of the early concepts for creatures we'd like to see in the Enchanted Forest. These are not all of the ones we plan to have, nor are these all final, but hopefully it will give you an idea of the sort of wildlife we're going for. The lore and writing team have been working on getting a rough map of the Enchanted Forest and starting area. This has allowed us to start planning the tutorial and quests with real reference points. We currently have about 6 quests planned out, but we want to keep these a secret as our quests are going to be very, very story heavy. While games like WoW have over 7,000 quests that consist of kill 10 bears or walk here, pick up a thing, then bring it back, they all take under 60 seconds to complete for each one. Seif has been bouncing between art and learning the Unreal Engine 4 blueprints this month. She started work on the quest creation kit for the developers. This will allow us to create objectives in a modular way to create quests with multiple stages, such as a bring me an item module or a meet me at X location module. Once we have all these in place, the quest designers who aren't very familiar with Unreal Engine 4 will have an easy tool to add and prototype their own quests with no knowledge of programming at all. We're aiming to have each quest be a story. For example, a quest may take between 15 minutes to 2 hours. This means we can reward the players a lot more. Nobody gets excited by receiving a chest plate with a +1 strength over your current one. However, a reward of an item that is able to stay relevant throughout most of the game, such as a special pair of gloves that gives you better yield when picking herbs in the forest. Now, that's a lot more exciting, and is likely to stay relevant for a lot longer. Now, music and sound. Now that we're moving along at a good speed, we wanted to get some music and sound designers in early to start prototyping. One of these music designers, Bearclops, has created 3 pieces of music for different areas in the game. This is what you've been hearing playing in the background in this video. They've done a fantastic job, and I think we can all agree that it just sounds amazing. It really captures the feel of our Enchanted Forest and some of the other zones that are going to be coming soon. While this is only the beginning for music, I'm incredibly excited to see where we go with this. Now, while web was one of the biggest topics last month, it's not such a big topic this month. That's not to say they haven't been doing anything, but almost everything they have been doing has been security related, meaning that we literally can't show you any of that. Along with that, on the networking side, we've managed to get instances and the transferring of players between said instances. Meaning world portals to get you from A to B is absolutely possible now, and we've also worked very hard on the efficient saving of player data. While this video may be more concise than the last 2, it doesn't mean that there's not being too much done. We're now at the point where everything that has been done is going to be tied together relatively soon. We're actually incredibly excited for what we're going to be able to show off next month, because I can guarantee that next month's devlog is going to be a hell of a lot more visual than this one, in the sense that we finished building a lot of the groundwork that is needed for the systems to be put in-game. When that starts to happen, you guys are going to see a very, very rapid progression in development. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and following along with the development process of NightmareWorld. We're very excited to be able to share this with you guys, and I just want to say a massive thank you to the Patreons. You guys rock. If you're watching this as it premieres, we're going to be live over on Twitch with a possible developers playtest of NightmareWorld, along with a Q&A and some general nonsense as usual. And as always, have an awesome day.